The show begins in a city called New Orleans, which is said to be the most haunted city in America. It's a city where the spirits walks among them, and the living celebrates the dead. We are introduced to a teenage girl called Soleil Leclerc, who tours some visitors around the city. She shows them places where executions were taking place and a side where vampires used to stay, but the tourists are unimpressed as they were expecting to see some real scary stuffs here. Clary decides to take them to Gravier, a place where they bury their dead, but it's not like any other burial, as here in New Orleans, they bury their dead above the ground. The tourists are still not scared until she takes them to a soul dungeon which she called the Nan Prison. Legend has it that the Marie Laveau, the queen of all witches, built the dungeon to imprison a demon. Just as a hand comes out from the dungeon and grabs her, the tourist gets scared and runs away. At her school, Clary makes a fake blood as the project presentation is today. A new kid in her class gives a presentation about his tradition to their sleeping teacher. He said their Lao are spirits who guide them with everyday problems, only if they are honored with offerings. Only a priestess can help them communicate with these spirits and channel their power. During the presentation, Stanley tampers with Claire's project, making a fake blood to splash on Missy's face. Missy, who thinks it was Clary who did it, retaliates by splashing the blood on her. Stanley decides to bring fun out of this by playing blood fight with the class, but the student gets in serious trouble when a splash on the teacher's face wakes him up. The teacher decides to punish them for being disrespectful to the dead by sending them to clean the graveyard. Missy blames Clary for everything, but she puts the blame on her boyfriend brother Stanley, who started the whole thing. The new kid introduces himself as Pat, and one more there on detention with them is called Maybe. While they stroll around the graveyard, Clary compliments Pat on how cool this project was. Her mom said she's related to Marie Laveau, the queen of all witches. They are confronted by a gravedigger who warns them never to open or touch anything here. He specifically warns that they should never go near a poison grave, saying it's cursed. Missy teases Clary that she's afraid, and if she's not, she should go there. Clary goes inside a prison dungeon, and after a while, they hear her screams. The rest of them hurries inside to save her from whatever danger she's in, and Pat is terrified when he sees blood on the floor. They are more terrified when they see a dead Clary on a tree, but it turns out she's just playing dead just to mess with them. Clary injures her finger and a drop of her blood touches the tree in the place. The tree begins to glow red, and the whole place begins to shake. They all run out of fear and hid themselves in the house of the gravedigger who isn't around. The ghost of Marie Laveau, the queen witch, appears before them, making the kids shocked as they thought stories about her were just superstition. She tells Clary that she has broken her spell and has now unleashed an ancient evil who is dead set on destroying this word. Since she is already dead, it's now up to them to stop the demon. She calls for the presence of the four most powerful witch spirits and orders them to grant the kids each of their powers. We are shown the scene where the demon wakes up and flies out of the graveyard. Missy, Stanley, and Maybe are not interested in any of these and decides to go on with their daily lives. Pat takes Clary to his Auntie Alma and tells her everything that had happened in the graveyard. She tells them that weird things are about to happen to them. They see Maybe on the roadside, and just as they wave to him, he suddenly goes invisible. Maybe finds himself in the world of the dead. He can still see Clary and Pat, but they are unable to see him. Stanley plays handball but doesn't feel the same. Missy attends her dance practice, but unleashes an incredible strength that threw her dance partner like nothing. The other students insults Missy, thinking she actually did that on purpose, and she is being told to go wait at the principal office. Stanley sees Missy crying for what she did, but he also shares that weird stuffs are happening to him too. Auntie Alma tells Maybe that what actually happened to him is he took a walk to the Shadow Realm. Missy enters with Stanley and angrily asks what is happening to her. Missy demonstrates on how she has become incredibly strong, while Stanley knows the information about anything he touches. Auntie Alma explains that the spirits have given them a little slice of their powers. She tells Missy that her powers comes from a spirit called Ogown. He was a very strong African warrior. Stanley powers comes from a Yizin, a spirit of knowledge. Maybe powers comes from Mom and Bridget, who help spirits pass to the other side. Pat and Clary don't know about their power since it hasn't showed up yet, but Pat is sure that his power will come from the spirit called Papa Legba, who is in charge of crossroads and communication. Pat wants to summon Papa Legba so they can ask him how to use their powers and what the spirits need them to do. Pat pours a vive on the ground, which is a sacred symbol to invoke Papa Legba. He placed a bowl of candy close to the symbol because if you give a spirit something they like, they are more likely to help you when you ask them for favors. After Pat calls on Papa Legba 3 times, he emerged out of the symbol, and after eating the candy Pat dropped for him, he shows them a very scary demon which the spirit wants them to stop. The kids are so afraid and don't want to do it, but Auntie Alma tells them that if the spirits wants them to do something and they refuse, they will make things very uncomfortable for them. Missy tries to attack Clary for being the reason they are in this mess, but Clary unconsciously summons a fire out of her hand. Auntie Alma tells her not to be afraid because that's her powers. Fire can bring destruction, but it also brings light. Clary has the power of Aida Wedo, a spirit of creation who has dominion over elements like fire, water, air, and earth. During Auntie Alma explanations, Pat hears a creepy voice, but he is the only one that can hear it. The demon appears before Missy and fills her heart with anger, making her to attack Clary. She chases after Clary, who goes into hiding. Missy catches Claire and tries to throw her off the roof. The rest of them begs her not to do it, but the demon who got inside her head tempts her to drop her. A monster called the Rougareware stops her. Thanks to Pat's power of communication, he is able to understand that the Rougareware was sent by his auntie to stop Missy. Missy defeats the Rougareware easily and continues attacking Clary. Missy accidentally falls off a building and the demon leaves her. While Clary cries apologizing to Missy's unconscious body, maybe find himself in the shadow realm. He tells them that they don't have much time because Missy is dying. The Rougareware reveals himself to be a guy called Lou. He tells her that his kind heals really fast. He can save Missy, but he is going to have to turn her, and she will have to choose. Maybe enters the shadow realm again to meet Missy's spirit. Missy contemplates on saying yes because she will be a monster, but maybe advises her that being a monster is better than dying. Missy agrees for her to get turned. The Rougareware suddenly bites her body, and she wakes up. Her broken bones heals immediately. Lou tells them to keep his secret as a Rougareware, and he will keep theirs, because if anyone knows, it will be dangerous for them. Missy begins to transition into a Rougareware, making Lou to tie her down as someone turning into a Rougareware for the first time will have this uncontrollable urge to eat little kids. It's not just any kid, but the kid she loves. Stanley knows Missy loves his baby sister Cease, so Lou orders him to take his sister out of his house and get her to his pizza shop where his kind will protect her. Pat, Maybe and Clary escort Stanley to his house to go get his little sister, while Lou hold off the transformed Missy. They are worried because since Missy has the strength of Ogown, they cannot stop her. Pat figures that since her powers from Ogown, they can call him to stop her. He knows how to call the spirit, but they are going to need offerings. Missy defeats Lou in a fight and heads for Stanley's house. Stanley is relieved when his mom told him on the phone that his kid sister Cease is with her at work, but he gets afraid again when Clary tells him that a Rougareware can sniff Cease from miles away. Maybe and Pat goes to Metal Shop to buy metal, because since Ogun is a spirit of metal, they can use that to invoke him to help them. Clary follows Stanley to get his baby sister Cease from his mother's care and keep her safe from Missy. They have nowhere to run since Missy can smell them wherever they go, so Stanley suggests they rub trash around their body so Missy won't be able to smell them. Missy still finds them, and while they are being chased, Pat draws the Ogown symbol, and as he chants his name, Maybe begins to hit a metal repeatedly. All the iron from nearby places come together, and Ogown suddenly appears before them. Missy attacks Ogown, but he wasn't fighting back. Just as Missy gets tired, Ogown tells her to fight the monster in her heart. Missy turns back to a human form, and with his job successful, Ogown disappears. Missy apologizes to them, saying she couldn't control herself. Lou arrives with a pack of Rougareware and tells her he will teach her their way of life. Rougarewares don't get along with vampires, and their weakness is chamomile, which can kill them, but Missy leaves as she's not interested in anything with that. On the other hand, the mayor of the town is seen at a graveyard grieving the death of his dear wife Cassie. A Rougareware killed her, and he wants vengeance. The demon appears and tells him that if he should help him get his powers back, he will help him get his vengeance. The demon instructs the mayor to steal an instrument called the Garrow-Rast from the vampires, which has the ability to summon demonic beasts from hell. On the other hand, the teens are worried that the demon that possessed Missy can actually use someone else, and might lead to the person to kill someone. Since the demon existed during Marie Laveau's time, that means there should be a record of it. Since Stanley has the power to gain knowledge of anything he touches, Clary sends him and Pat to the school library to find some information about it. Maybe and Clary notice a ghost in the school. Clary feels the ghost is trying to tell them something and tells Maybe to go to the Shadow Realm to find out, but he doesn't want to go there as seeing the dead scares him a lot. Meanwhile, in quest for the demon, the mayor enters the castle of the king of vampires called Trevor, who is seen dancing with his wife. Not only Clary and Maybe, but Pat, Stanley, and Missy are being hunted by the school ghost. According to their research, Pat tells them the ghost is the person who built the school. She was alive during Marie Laveau's time. That means the ghost might be trying to tell them something about the demon. Maybe gains the courage to use his powers to go to the Shadow Realm to talk to the ghost. Unfortunately, the ghost can't speak, but left a clue with him. They figure out that the ghost wants them to go to the school closet. When they got there, they discover a secret passageway. In there, they find the picture of the ghost, Alvina Brulent, and her skeleton on the floor. Just as Clary wonders why Alvina Brulent's mouth is covered with wax in her picture, maybe uses what the ghost gave him to starp out the wax. A very powerful wind circulates around and maybe goes to the shadow realm again. The ghost is now able to speak thanks to Maybe for breaking her curse. She tells him that during her time, there were so many fire incidents and diseases. It was no accidents, but the work of the demon. Alvina Brulent talks about how she was in her office when she saw the demon for the first time. The school suddenly caught fire, leading to her to warn everyone in each classrooms. She is able to save everyone, which got the demon angry. The next day, the demon shows up and reveals that he feeds on people's fears. He burnt the school to have a lifetime feast on the kids, but she ruined it. Because of that, the demon cursed her, making her to never speak again. She tells Maybe that the demon name is Belial, who gains powers by consuming fears and will do monstrous things to create it. If the demon has really returned, everyone is in danger. Maybe tells the others everything Alvina told her, making them scared. The mayor steals the instrument from the vampires, and according to the demon instructions, he uses it to awaken the demonic beasts called the Grunch. The teenagers went to the tree where the demon was once trapped. They see footprints in the place and figures out that someone is helping the demon. There is a festival about to happen, and they believe the demon will cause problems there. They have to find the demon before it hurts anyone. Auntie Alma tells them they can't do it without Missy, since she's the strongest among them, but Clary is not okay with the idea because Missy has a bad attitude, but she just doesn't have a choice. They all go to Missy's house to ask for her help, but as expected, she's not interested due to the date she has with her boyfriend. Missy also has a problem of her own. She keeps transforming into a rouge-gorilla uncontrollably. She meets Lou to know why this is happening to her when it's not full moon. Lou explains that being a rouge-gorilla is different from werewolves. What triggers her beast form is when she doesn't keep her cool. The mayor sends the Grunches to where the festival is holding so Belial can feed on the people fear, which will give him enough power to resurrect. Lou begins to train Missy on how to control her temper so the beast inside her will be controlled, while Clary, Pat, and Stanley are in the festival waiting for the demon to attack. Maybe calls them informing that some vampires are about to drain his brother's blood. They got to the club where his brother works, but he doesn't seem to be harmed. After a while, the Grunches attacks the club. While the people inside runs in fear, Belial begins to feast on their fears. The vampire king Trevor sees the Grunches in the club and sends his vampires to stop them. They use their supernatural strength to toss them around, but still aren't strong enough to kill the beast. Missy sees her boyfriend unconscious from the attack and goes to fight the beast. Missy and Clary combine their strength to fight the Grunches. Stanley touches the Grunch and gains knowledge of their weakness. To defeat a Grunch, one must play the devil chord with a piano. When Maybe plays the piano, the beast turns to stone. The people at the club are terrified at everything they have just seen, but Clary makes them think it's just a show, leading to them all clapping. The vampire king tells the teens that they aren't bad, but only feed on blood that has been donated. The vampires feel it's their enemy, the rouge-gorillas, who have something to do with the attack in their club. The vampires and the rouge-gorillas are about to begin a war against the other, and that was how the episode ended. If you want me to continue this show, please let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.